Hey there, good looking. Grab your partner for this yummy stretch session that is good for the inflexible, all the way to the inflexible. No other equipment is needed except perhaps maybe a mat if you guys are on a hard surface. You ready? Let's get going. Hello there and welcome. I'm PJ from fitnesswithpj.com as well as over50fitness.co. And hey, if you're watching this on YouTube, click subscribe. And if you're enjoying this ads free on the Over 50 Fitness app, make sure you head to our private Facebook community after this to let me know what you and your partner thought of the stretch session. All right, my partner loving husband is back in the house. So we are going to start with an actual partner stretch where both will get the stretch, and then we're going to move into single person stretches. All right, you ready?
All right.
Okay, so let's get the right foot in front. And we're setting ourselves up back to back. Both partners have the right foot in front. And you're into a hip flexor stretch here. Now, come around to the back and interlace with your partner's hands. Walk that front leg forward a bit and then lunge into it, stretching into that left hip flexor and then into the chest and the front of your shoulder. And just breathe. Now, if you start to feel this in your low back, I want you to tighten that left glute up. Upper body is fairly upright. You're almost extended back slightly. And then if you wanted more of a stretch, you could walk this front leg forward more, lunge into it more. Good. Keep breathing. Good job, loving husband. All right. Now keep the hands interlaced, everybody. We need to step the other foot forward now. Can you do this with your hands interlaced? No? Okay. You got it? All right. Now, lunge forward, tighten the right glute now, open up the chest, feel that right side of the hip stretch while we continue stretching into the pecs and the shoulders. Now, make sure you're holding all of these stretches just on your edge, all right? There should be no pain, no sharp shooting pain in the joint. But you do want to find your edge. And release. All right, seated back to back, and you can be cross-legged or legs extended in front of you, whatever feels best for you. But you want you and your partner to be right up, so bring your tush, good, right up against each other. Now, I'm going to stretch LH here, so he's going to bring his arms up, and I'm going to grab onto his wrists. Now, from this position, and you might not have to move that much for your partner to get the stretch, all you're going to do is almost think about doing an ab crunch. Push your upper back into his upper back or her upper back while you pull gently on the wrists. And this is going to stretch into your lats as well as your T-spine, a typical area that's locked up in a lot of us over the age of 40. Now, once again, partners that are being stretched, make sure you communicate with your person and let him or her know whether or not this is too deep. Again, you want to find your edge. And with that said, if you can go deeper, let your partner know. And that partner, all he or she would do is just kind of curl forward more and push your upper back into hers, sort of pushing the chest up to the ceiling. And release. All right, other partner. So elbows are pointed forward. Your partner's going to grab onto your wrists. Now, he or she's going to crunch forward and push their upper back into your upper back while your chest lifts up to the ceiling. You can let your head drop into his or her upper back as well. Oh, sorry, you could have let your head drop. Was your head hurting? Was your neck hurting? Oh, I like this one. We could just stay here for the whole video. A couple more breaths. And release. All right, now I'm going to lead one of you through stretching the other person, and then you'll come back to this point of the video to do the other person. So, person who is getting stretched, I'm going to call you partner, and that's all you need to think about. So I'm going to get partner 2, have the big toes together, knees open, and they're going to come down into a child's pose. So that's you. Now, you're going to come behind your partner, the very bottom of their spine, press down gently. Too much? Again, partner who's being stretched, communicate with your person if you want to go deeper or if it's too much. We're good? Okay. You could get fancy with this as well and kind of massage, lifting one palm up, pressing one in at a time. And you're on each side of the spine with the hands. You're not pushing down on the actual spine itself. And you are low down, close to their butt. So hopefully this is a partner that you know. Not some random person who's going to be offended. All right, couple more breaths. And release. Now that partner is going to come up and just sit back on their heels. If they're uncomfortable with that, they can sit cross-legged. And I'm going to get you forward so we're more centered on the mat. And just sit back on your heels. Good. Interlace the hands behind the head. Now you're going to come behind that person so that the whole side of your leg is resting in between their shoulder blades all the way down their spine. Come to the front of their arms, gently pull, and then partners, I want you to just sort of fall back into your other person's hip. Stretching into the pecs, some extension into the T-spine. And you can let your head drop into my hip, LH. And release. All right, partners lying flat on their backs. This is his favorite move right here, prone. He's really good at it. All right, get on the mat and centered, please. Nope. Thanks. All right, we're going to work into some traction of the low back. First things, those of you that are stretching, you want to make sure you're using your legs to lift up your partner's legs. All right, and then partner, you just drop your feet into their hands. Now, I want you to sit right back and pull on their ankles, giving some traction into the low spine. If you want, you can kind of shift it side to side. And right foot to the ground, left foot up. Just let that foot drop into the body, stretching into the hamstring. Now, those of you that are stretching your partner, if you want to stretch as well, what you could do is sink down into a hip flexor stretch. So now their leg's going to rest on your shoulder, and you're going to get in that split lunge position and stretch into your hip flexor. Now on this, you're going to allow the leg to bend a bit. Your partner might have tight hamstrings, so their knee's going to bend a bit. That's totally fine. If you find your partner's leg is shaking, the hamstring's contracting and shaking, I want you to loosen it up a bit. All right? We want to get again to the edge without the shaking. If you want to, and if you want to place this hand just on the top of the knee, go for it. But again, partners being stretched, communicate. Communicate to your human and let him or her know if this is too much. Those that are being stretched, back of the neck is long. The rest of the body's relaxed. Maybe your eyes are closed. Moving into the hip Now, partners, bring your arms in a T position and just let the arms open up and line them up with the shoulders. Now, this leg that you were stretching the hamstring, you're going to bring it across the body. Take the right leg of yours, step it in front of the knee, and then let this leg rest on your leg. So you're using your legs to do this stretch, not your low back. That's really important. Breathe, partner. Good. Is this too much? Wow, you're in rough shape. Is that better? Okay. So again, communicate with your partner. Maybe judge them like I just did with mine. Those of you that are being stretched, your arms are lined up with your shoulders, palms facing up. You'll get a nice length through the front of the body with that. And then again, just try to relax all the muscles in the body and just let yourself sink into this stretch. As you hold the stretch, your partner may ask you to go a bit deeper, at which point you would just walk your foot towards them a bit, and that would take this straight leg up towards their arm a bit. Mine is indicating we're just fine where we're at. Couple more breaths. And then we bend the knees, use the legs to bring and help that leg back for your partner. Down on the ground, use the legs to lift the other one up. And now we either rest it here, or if you want your own hip flexor stretch, you take it down into hip flexor stretch. But again, you're using your body to hold the leg up, not necessarily any arm strength. I'm almost leaning into his leg. His hamstrings are that tight that they can hold me up. That's good. No, it's not good. Those of you on the ground, back of the neck is long. Muscles relaxed. Just nice, easy breaths. Take this leg over to the side. Maybe let it go a little bit if your partner's tight. Your one leg is going to rest in front of their quad, just above the knee, and your other leg, you're going to drop their leg just below your knee. So again, we're not placing any pressure on any joint. You good there? Okay. Those of you on the ground, arms extended, lined up with the shoulder. Those of you being stretched, nice deep breaths. And back to center. Partners on the ground, bend the knees, feet flat on the ground. Open up the knees, insoles of your feet touching. Good. And then from here, and be very careful, those of you who are doing the stretching, just gently push down on the inner knees. You might not have to push at all, actually, for your partner to get the stretch that he or she needs. Now slide your hands to the outside of their knees and use your arms to help bring the knees together for them, and then ask them to roll over onto their stomach. Stretching into the quad now. Partners on the mat, you can place one fist under the forehead to line up the neck, and then taking one leg, bend at the knee, and you're going to hold on to their foot and draw that knee or draw that heel towards the bum. You may or may not get to the bum. Nope. Okay. We're stretching the quad now. And release, other side. And release. Partners on the ground, you're going to sit back on your heels again, just to release the low back. If you'd like, you can take your hands and press gently on the bottoms of their low back, heels of the palm on each side of their spine. All right, final stretch on your backs. And then have the feet apart and just drop the knees in towards each other. Just going to stretch the hip rotators a little bit while we stretch your partner's neck. So you're going to come along to the top of their head and then have a seat. Now you may want to place a pillow under your tush to make it a little more comfortable. Partners can bring their arms down by their side and just let them rest. Now, this is uber important, all right? You don't want to go really hard on this, all right? Necks are very sensitive. So partners on the mat, make sure you communicate with your significant other. Now, bring your hands behind and just tell your partner to drop their head into your hands. So please, partners on the mat, don't use any muscles. Just let your partner guide your ears and guide your head. From here, you're going to place the right hand underneath the head and guide the right ear towards the shoulder. Now take your left hand and just gently push on the top of that left shoulder, lengthening into the neck. Now to save my right arm, I have my thigh underneath it, so my forearm is resting on my thigh, and I've got my right elbow kind of jammed in my hip a bit. So I'm not using really much muscle to hold his head up. So position your body too, so that you're using very few muscles and you're not straining anything to stretch his neck or her neck. You okay? You're looking at me with one eye. It didn't look like you were okay. No? Okay. And release. All right, again, partners, don't use any muscles in your neck or your head. Let your partner guide your head now to the other side. And be aware, your partner may have one side of the neck tighter than the other. And back to center. Last stretch. Place your hands at the very base of their skull and just lift their chin into their chest. Drop your head. Drop it. There you go. And then bring your hands on each side of their head and just pressing the head forward. They're going to get a nice stretch in the back of their neck. Again, though, be really careful. Be mindful and go slow with your movements. And then guide their head down to the ground. And there you go. Hey, thank you so much for joining LH and I. And if you'd like, go back to after we finish the other 2 stretches so that your partner can stretch you out. Have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you next workout. Bye.